Hey guys, my name's the Timster. In this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make the big mushroom cloud that you, that looks like this, and all the pieces of rubble and the sort of trailing off smoke and all of that sort of good stuff. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to get started by opening up Blender if you don't already have it open, and then going to File, New, or you can just open up a new blend file. Then going to the top up here, clicking Blender Game, and scrolling down and clicking GLSL. That's just normal game setup. We'll also go down to the animation frame rate and change that to 60. That will just make a sort of nice frame rate, and it will be able to, it'll make it easier for us to animate stuff more accurately. So after you've done that, you're going to, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the big mushroom cloud. So you click down here into layer 2, or you can press the number 2. And then you'll go into an empty layer, and then you can press Shift A and add a cube. Actually no, we're going to add a plane, and then we're going to press S to make it bigger, and then go into textured view, and it'll be black, and that's fine, because then we can go into the materials tab. Just drag this out a bit. Materials tab, then click new, drag the specularity down, no back facing, and transparency to nothing. We might give it a bit of an emit, not too much, just a little bit. I think even 0.03 is fine. Then we're going to go into the texture panel, and we're going to click new, then image or movie, UV, and we're going to open up a smoke texture, which will be in the description, but I also made that with you guys in another video. It's just a matter of getting into GIMP and using airbrushes and stuff. But anyway, that texture will be in the description. Then once you've opened that up, you can scroll down here and select alpha. Then we're going to press Tab U unwrap, and that will project it onto this plane. And then we're going to drag that back over there. Then what we're going to do is, I think I might go and press SY to scale it a bit, and SX a bit, and that will just make it a little bit bigger. Yep, that's looking fine. So now I'm going to press Tab and then click down here to go into face select mode. So we can select the whole face, and then we're going to press Shift D and then RY, and then that's going to twist it for us. And I think something like that's fine. And then we're going to press Shift D RY again and tilt it in the opposite direction like that. Yep, so that should be fine. I think we can press P to test it out, and that looks like a nice piece of smoke. I might press S to make it a bit bigger, and go down into the alpha and change it to 0.7. Reason for that is because smoke isn't unless it's heaped up, it doesn't fully see through, but it's definitely going to be heaped up for this thing. So go back to layer 1, or press the number 1 along the top of your keyboard, and we're going to select this cube, and we're going to call it smoke spawner. And we're also going to go back into layer 2, right click to select the smoke and call it smoke. Then we're going to go into the material tabs while this is selected, the smoke, and we're going to click object color. Then we're going to go to frame 0 down here, go into the object settings, right click here, insert keyframe, then go to frame 60, can click down here, until it's frame 60, and then we're going to left click in here, drag down the alpha, move your mouse away, and then right click, insert keyframe. So all that will do, it will let the smoke fade out over a while. Then we're going to go up here and click game logic, and we're going to go up here in the corner and drag across. You can also make this part a bit smaller, and we're going to go into textured view, and we're going to have an always sensor here, and a so this is inside the logic editor. We're going to have an always sensor and an action actuator, and we're going to join them together. They'll automatically put an AND controller, and then we're going to select smoke action and end frame 60. This means that it will always be playing the animation of it fading out like that if we press P. So now that's done, we're going to go back to layer 1 and press Shift S, cursor to center. And now what we need to do is, if you look at sort of the if you look at the smoke, or any type of smoke really, the mushroom cloud, sort of, it travels upwards, but it doesn't just go straight upwards, it sort of curls around, like, I don't know, motion's sort of hard to describe, but sort of like this the whole time. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing. And drag this cube back across here. We're going to add an always sensor for this one cube, and add a motion here. Join those two together. Oh, and also we're going to add, we may as well, X direction, I think. Yep, 0.1. And then the Y rotation, don't drag that, just change it to something like 5. And now if we press P, we have a swirling cube, sort of. I might turn that up a bit, 0.2. Increase the speed. But yeah, that's the main sort of what it's going to be doing the whole time. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to have a big ring of that, of lots and lots of different cubes moving at different sort of settings in here, and that will give a nice sort of smoke looking effect. But go along before we do anything else into the physics tab, no collision and invisible. Then we can move that across there, press 7 to go into top view, and press 5 if you haven't already to make it orthographic. Then press Shift D and then click after you've dragged it over, and then press R, and then before we do anything else, select this smoke spawner and add an edit object. Also add another always sensor, but this one's going to be true and have a frequency of, I think, like 6 was a good value. And then we're going to select smoke after you've dragged it across, and time of 60. What that's going to do when we press P is it's going to spawn smoke. So I think that's a good frequency, but I don't know. You could choose that as well. That doesn't really look very... I don't know, you can do whatever you want, but I think I was happy on that value, so I'm going to leave it on that. After you've got all that done, then we're going to go press 7, then we're going to press Shift D, and then we're going to click, press R to sort of have an outwards facing. Actually we can do it the whole way over here, and then press Shift D and drag it across, and then R, and then flip it around. This doesn't have to be exact, and then Shift D, and then we can press R and flip it around and move it, and so it sort of has a circle. Then we're going to select each of these by holding down Shift and right clicking, and then we're going to press Shift D and then R, and that's going to make some more, and then we should have 8 different ones. So now when we press P, we have lots and lots of smoke that looks pretty repetitive, but it still looks cool. So we're going to have to select each one, and now's when we go into the motion settings and muck around with it a bit. So I'm going to turn that one to 8, that one to 0.1, then I'm going to press H, so I know I've finished that. That's the original smoke spawner, because it doesn't have a number beside it, so we can press H to hide that. Might even turn that up to 0.3, press H to hide that, and then go on the next one, and maybe value of 9, so these can be all over the place. You don't even have to modify them huge amounts, could just be a little bit here and there. And once you're done, you press H after each one to hide it, then you can press Alt H and it will bring them all up again. And then when you press P, you have sort of different moving smoke, sort of. So that sort of looks cool, but we have a really big one that's sort of looking a bit funny, and it won't be that one, but I'm guessing it's, yep, this one. So I'm going to turn that down one notch, see if it, no. Yeah, I guess that's still fine. What we also might want to do is turn this frequency down a bit. You can actually make that random, you can miss them out if you want, just for added variation. And just like so. And now when we press P, we have a nice looking animation. This motion's still gonna turn that down a bit, but see if that does anything. Okay, there we go. So I'm happy with that sort of rolling smoke. You also might want to do is hold down Shift and right click all of them, and then press Shift D and then S, and then that will scale them inwards, and then press RZ and put them into the gaps, and you might want to move it up a little bit maybe. And so when we press P, we sort of have, I know, a lot more smoke, a lot more vents. You might not want that though, so you can just press Ctrl Z. But that's the main sort of structure of it done. I think that's enough smoke, so I'm just going to leave it. What we have to do now though is get it moving, the whole thing. So we're going to press Shift S, cursor to center again, and then Shift A, and we're going to add a cube. We'll drag this up a bit and change it to no collision and invisible, and we're also going to go into the object settings and call this smoke explosion. We can actually just call this explosion, and then we're going to press A to deselect, and then B and select all that, then press C and hold down the scroll wheel. Just tap it over the objects you want to deselect, and then right click this middle cube here and Control P and parent to object, and now when you rotate it or you move it around, then it all all these little cubes do what this big one does. So to make that a bit to make the whole explosion move, we're going to select this explosion here and add an always sensor and a motion sensor and join those two up, and then we're going to add 0.1 on the Z, and that will move the entire explosion upwards gradually. So that could be cool. You might like that. But I like to add variation on as many things as I can, so I'm going to do 1 degree on the Z axis, and that's going to spin it a bit. It's going to give it a bit of, I don't know, it's going to make it look a bit cooler. If you wanted to, you could turn that speed up, make it move up a bit faster, as it would realistically. I think that's good speed, 0.2. What you also might notice is the smoke is drifting away pretty fast. So I'm going to select all these and then Shift D, GZ, and then you can press S and RZ, just random rotation, and move it up a bit by dragging the arrow. So now when we press P, we have a lot more smoke, at the bottom especially. So that's looking pretty nice. So that's a main sort of mushroom cloud explosion thing done, and now what we need is the fireball, because you can't really have huge explosion without fire because it just doesn't look cool. So we're going to go into layer 2 and drag this one across and press Shift A and add an icosphere. Then we're going to, with it selected, press S and call this fire. Then we're going to go into the materials and set specular to nothing, turn back facing off and transparency to nothing. Also select object color because we'll be animating the alpha of this as well. Then go into the texture panel, click new, image or movie, UV, and we're going to open up fire, wherever it is. You may not have fire, so what we're actually going to do is we're going to go on to CG textures. They have lots and lots of free textures which you can use in all your games and stuff. So once you're on the main site here, you can click fire and click flames and get an image you like. I highly recommend this one in the bottom corner because I used it for the fire tutorial and for quite a few other bits and pieces, but I use that texture. So you have to have an account, but once you get that, you can click on the texture and click on it and download it. I've already got mine here though, so I'm going to close CD textures, don't need it anymore. Once you've done that though, you're going to have to open up GIMP. So you can download GIMP, that's free as well. And we're going to open it up. And then you'll go File, and you'll open up your, I'll go into Downloads, and you'll open up your Fire, I think it was. Yep, Flames. So probably this one. And then you'll click Open, and then you go Color to Alpha. Click in here and drag that to black because the background's black. Then you click OK and OK, and that will wipe the background. Then you'll go File and Export, not Overwrite, because it's a JPEG, which means it doesn't save alpha channels. So you go Export, and then you just change the end of it to PNG. And once you've done that, you'll click export, but again, I've already done that from the previous tutorial, so I won't need to. So yeah, we'll open that up and go into the downloads, the one that you've exported out without any background, and then once you open that up, set it to UV and click alpha. Then we're going to press tab, U, and sphere projection. That'll make it look quite cool, but you won't really be able to see anything. And we'll have to turn on shadeless to make it look quite nice, but as you can see, there's only like half of the fireball is actually fire. So if we put our mouse in the top corner here and we drag across, it'll make a new window for us. Then we can go to the UV image editor and press tab to go into edit mode, and this will pop up. Then we'll have to select flames, and we can pretty much just press S and it will scale it down, and press G to move it, and try and get as sort of this fitting inside the middle of the flames. But don't make it too small because otherwise it'll look funny. But I think that looks fairly good. Moving fast. Might still want to move it. Up a bit. No, I think we'll just have to go for something like that. So that looks fine. Yeah, just scale it to you so I have something that looks good. Then we're going to go back into the texture panel here and change the alpha to I think 0.7 as well, or even 0.6. Nah, 0.7 is good. Then you can close that window because we're done with that. Then we select this, and always sensor, add a motion sensor, join the two together, and click on the X rotation, and that will rotate it, but pretty sure it'll be going a lot faster in an explosion like a real one, so I'm going to turn that up to maybe 8. Maybe a little bit too fast, so 5. And that seems good. Yep, I think 5's a good, or maybe 4. Yeah, either or. I'll just go with 5. And you can leave that going. We also need to animate it fading out, so we're going to go in the bottom corner here, wait till the crosshair pops up, and then you can click and drag upwards. Then you can select timeline, drag it to 0 with this selected, then go into the object settings and right click, insert keyframe, and then go to frame 60, then left click, drag it to 0, move your mouse away, and then right click, insert keyframe. So that will fade it out. Now we'll go on here, add an action, join the two together, add fire action, and end frame 60. And so now when we press P, we have some flame fading. So yeah, that's that part done. Now we just need to spawn the flames. So I'm going to select all of these, and flames are usually in the middle-ish, so we can press Shift D and then GZ, move them up a bit, press S to scale them, then RZ, and something like that should work fine. You just leave the name because can't really be bothered renaming them all, but one thing we will have to do is go into the edit object here and select fire for each one. So you can just click in there and press F and the first one, and then in times 60, and then go on to the second one, press F, select, minimize, and then press H after you're done. So done that one, so I can press H. Go on to the next one, F, and then press H, and then press F, fire. Oh. And just select the last few. And there we go. Then press Alt H to unhide them. And then I might also want to give it a bit of a random effect. Might want to press 7 and bring the fire ones inwards. Maybe leave a few out, like that. And then when we press P, we have a nice looking explosion, but I think it looks quite good, but I think the frequency, oh, there's false selected as well. Frequency for these is a bit too low. If you're happy with it though, you can just leave it. But I'm going to turn up this just a bit. So just selecting these top cubes here, and using the middle mouse button to rotate around. Yeah, that should be fine. Actually, maybe not 8 or 9. Yeah, so now when we press P, we have spawning fire. And that actually looks quite cool. But still, in my opinion, not enough. I like lots of fire. So I'm going to select all these top cubes here and then press Shift D, RZ, and drag on the blue arrow downwards, and then press S, and maybe not that far down, but no, just at the bottom, and then press P, and that is looking pretty nice. But there's highly likely to be flame at the bottom, so I'm going to select these outside cubes. Oh, holding down Shift and right clicking. And then we're going to press Shift D and then G, Z, bring it down, press S, RZ, and GZ, and then S a little bit more, and then press P, and I think that's looking a lot nicer-ish, but you can't really see the flame anymore, so I'm actually going to bring that up the top here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we don't need that. Let's see it again. I think at now this point is just a whole bunch of tweaking. What I might do is select these fire ones and press S and then GZ, and that will bring them outwards so we can see the fire a bit better. And when we press P, you'll have less smoke hiding it, but still looks sort of cool. I'm not sure why it's flickering. We could also do is actually go into layer 2 to get rid of that flickering, and go to frame 10, and then right click, nope, left click, drag that up, and then right click insert keyframe, and then go down here and drag the alpha down, right click and replace keyframe, and so we have it fading in and then fading out. So now when we press P, we have a lot smoother sort of look. But yeah, I think now it's just up to you to add more layers of smoke and fire and spreading them out however you want. But I'm happy with that. I think that will do a good job. So I'm going to press B and select all of this, and then C and deselect that, and then press M and move it to layer 6 down here. So now that will be in there. And now we're going to add a plane, so Shift A, and then we're going to press S, and we're going to call this ground. So then we're going to add a cube here, press S, and move it up, and this is going to be called explosion spawner. Oh. And so now we have an explosion spawner. We can add a keyboard, and I'm just going to do C, because you don't use that key often, just for now though, and add an edit object, and it's going to edit in the object explosion for 60 seconds. So now when we press P and then press C, it'll spawn a nice explosion, but I don't know, you might want it to last a bit longer than that. So you can turn up the time, or you could go into layer 2 and turn down, or maybe 0.15 for the speed, make it go a bit slower. So now when we press C, yep, it's working fine, but yeah, I don't like how it's finishing with flames on the top. So I'm going to select one of these, check its smoke, and then press Shift D, duplicate it, press 7, just drag it around the top here, add another one, rotate it around, and then Shift D, add another one, and then Shift D, add one more, and I just want it sort of finishing. Oh, we can select these as well. I just sort of want it to finish with smoke at the top, not fire. So now we go back to layer 1 and press P and C, and I think I like the look of that a lot better. So yeah, I think that's the main part done. You can still probably tweak it by dragging in the fire parts. Oh, these are smoke. Still probably a fair amount you can still do, but yeah, I think that should be sufficient for me. I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to center again, and now we're going to add the sort of trailing off bits of smoke. So we're going to go to layer 2, press Shift A, and add a cube, and then press, nope, we're going to call this trail. Then we're going to add an always sensor with a delay of not that high, 4, and edit object and smoke. So you can press S and select smoke and join that, and end time of 60, and then we can press M and move it to layer 6, and then I think I'll move it, actually press M and move it to layer 7 over here, just so we can sort of see what we're doing, and we're going to add a motion, so it's not just sitting there. So join that up to that, and just yep. Oh, set the physics to no collision and invisible. Then set the motion to maybe 0.6, and I think you'll have to have it on 1 degree, so trail off like that. I actually think frequency maybe even 2, because it's moving fast. Yep, like that. So we can, I think that's good, but actually we might turn that to 0 and on the x-axis, so now when we press P we have it trailing off nicely. Oh no, it's spinning. Select Y, I guess. Yeah. Oh, that should be fine. Then we'll go to layer 1, and we're going to, at the same time of spawning this, we're going to add another edit object, and it's going to spawn our trail. So join that up, and then press T, select trail, and end time 60. And we're also going to give it a linear velocity of maybe 1. Let's see what that does. So now when we press P and C, it bursts off the side there. Maybe 2. Oh, still funny. Might need to. Oh, we can also add a Z. Yeah, that should work fine. Add a Z value, so it goes upwards, I think. Yeah, let's see what that does. Yeah, so that sort of shoots off quite nicely when we press C. Yep, I think I should be fine with that. However, I'm going to try 5 just to experiment. And yeah, that could be a bit of a problem. You might not like that. So actually what we're going to do is press Shift A and add another cube, and then press S to scale it down and call it trail spawner, and move it up, then no collision and invisible, and select, go down here, select edit object and T, trail, end time 60, and then press Z to go into wireframe, select the explosion spawner, and then hold down Shift and select the other cube, and now you can join them both up. So when you press C, it will spawn trail and that other one. But now when we're going to click the trail, and then press RY, so it'll have an angle to it. So now when we go into texture view and press P and then C, we'll just shoot it off the side like that. And that means you'll also be able to sort of adjust the angle a bit. I'm also going to press tab and RZ90. Let's see if that does anything. Then press P. I don't know, because the smoke's sort of spawning a bit funny. Looks a bit strange. But yeah, that should work either way. It's probably just a matter of going to layer 2 and pressing tab and A again, and then RZ90. Enter. Press tab to go out of edit mode, and then press P and C, and that's looking a lot nicer. I'll try that one more time. Yeah. It sort of looks a lot more fluffy. So select that and then press Shift D, RZ, Shift D, RZ, and Shift D, RZ, and then RX, and I think when we press P and C, we still only have one, because the rest aren't joined to the explosion sensor. So once you've got the explosion sensor, we're going to press C, select the explosion sensor, then select just hold down B and select the rest after you've clicked on the explosion sensor, and then join all those up like so, and that's looking quite nice. Yeah, I think that should be good. Go into texture view and press P and C, and we have some cool looking sort of pieces coming out. You might want to randomize a bit. I think what I originally did was I just had spawners and then mucked around with the settings here, but yeah, I think we could possibly do that. Let's do minus. What you can also do is press RX and sort of you can adjust the angle. Press P, and that went totally unexpected. But yeah, I think that sort of the main concept. Yeah, I think that should be fine. You can muck around with it. You can probably add another one, press Shift D and then RY. Rotate it a bit that way. And click another one and just join it up. Like that, and that should be fine. So for some strange reason it's adding it underneath, but that's fine. That's just, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. So yeah, big mushroom cloud and trails of smoke, and now we just need some rubble. So we're going to also add in, I think it was, yeah, we'll add in some rubble as well. So you can do it on this layer, press Shift A, add another cube, and we'll call this rubble. Rubble. And then we're going to go along and just leave that, drag that up a bit, go into the materials tab, new material, no specularity, no back facing, and that should be fine. Texture tab, new texture, image or movie, UV, and we're going to open up another texture from CG Textures. So you can, I'm not going to do it, so you can just hop onto CG Textures and find a concrete sort of looking texture. They'll look like something like this. It should be fairly easy to find, just some sort of concrete. And so once you got that selected, there should be a funny color. Make sure that's on UV. Then we're going to press Tab, U, and Q projection. They'll project it all out for us. So now if we press RY, we have color on all sides. Then we're going to press T and scroll down. And if you don't already, you're going to have to go to File, User Preferences, Add-ons, and search up Frac. And there'll be Cell Fracture. So you just tick that. And then this little button should pop up whenever you select an object, and then you can click that and turn that up. Turn the noise up, select own vertices, and no reoccursion, turn the random up, select random, no margin, actually margin doesn't matter, and then just click OK, and it will do some calculating, and on layer 2 we'll have our fractured cube. So then press N, and actually no, we can just leave it there. And that, I think, that goes only about 7 or 8 pieces, so we can press X, delete that original cube now, and select, well actually we're going to have to select this explosion spawner in the middle, and then press H, and then go back into texture view, select one of these, add an edit object, join that up, and select, press R, and then rubble cell, and we can maybe add times 60, then go to the next one, nope, leave out explosion spawner, go to trail spawner, add another edit object, rubble cell 001, actually I think 360 was a good value, not 60, 60 is too fast for rubble, but 360, so should be about 6 seconds. Join that one up as well, go to the next one, edit object, number 2 this time, number 2, end time 360, close that, and we'll join that up as well, and then do that for the last 2. You can also make this window a lot bigger and join that to that, and add another edit object and join that one up as well. So we can select rubble cell 3 and press R, and rubble cell 4, and then there'll be a couple missing, but you can add more trail spawners for that if you want, just by pressing Shift D. Well, I'm just going to add 360 feet, 360 for each one here, and move it down. Then I'm going to press P and C, and it's going to spawn some rubble, but the rubble's sort of going to explode out quite violently. I'm guessing, yeah, because of, if we press Alt H, this explosion spawner here needs to be no collision and invisible as well. So now if we go texture and then press P and C, then you'll still have rubble that shoots out. The reason for that is because of the smoke pushing it. So I'm going to go into layer 2, select the smoke, make that no collision and invisible. Nope, not invisible, just no collision. And then press P and press C. And it's still going, so I'm guessing if we go into layer 6, this all seems to be a no collision, so maybe it could be the fire. So go into layer 2, drag this along, and you'll see the fire. Select no collision for that as well. Yeah, there we go. So now it's just sort of plopping on the floor. So now we have a nice little pile of rubble. You could actually leave just, I don't know, so if you really couldn't be bothered, you can just go and select this fire and change it to static, and press P and C, and it will sort of explode out the rubble for you. That wouldn't require a lot of work, and it'd probably be the easiest thing to do, but I'm going to go through the harder way, which involves selecting one of these and going to the logic panel and giving into the object settings here, turning up the Z, turning up the angular velocity of each piece of rubble. So this is probably the least fun way to do it. Yep, so we'll see what that does now. Press P and C. and I think that has it sort of falling out a bit. Could turn up the Z on each one, but yeah, as I said, you probably don't want to have your player or whatever seeing the rubble and looking at it and then watching it disappear and then complaining. You probably just want it to them not to pay attention to it and it not really be there in the first place. So yeah, easiest thing I suggest is select the smoke, or drag along here and select the fire and just change it to static. You won't have to worry about changing any of the settings, because when you press P and C, it will flick all the rubble out no matter what. So yeah, I think that's about it. You might, if you did edit those settings, you might actually want to drag it up and start the tedious task of resetting everything. I really hope there was a reset button here somewhere. That'll make everything so much easier. You could do that, or you can just press Control Z a lot of times, but I'm just going to reset everything. Because there isn't that many, so it's probably not worth it. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, you now have a nice explosion you can add into your games. You could also, if you didn't like you thought the trails maybe went a bit too far, you can go into layer 7, select trail, and edit the motion and turn that down to maybe something like that. Turn up the Y and press P and C, and you sort of, depending on what you edit there, you're going to get a lot of it. Yeah, you can sort of customize the curve you get from each one, but yeah, there's your explosion, guys. You can add it for, I don't know, grenades or fuel cans or fuel anything. What you'd also probably do is the previous tutorial I did showing you guys how to make fire. You'd select the explosion spawner and or just click File Save and call this explosion tutorial. What I've done is pretty much I've got this fuel tank here and I've added a collision sensor. I've also given it a health property, so every time one of these grenades collides with it, it minuses a health value, and when it's all equal to 0, then it'll explode and add sound, and all of these edit objects are for pieces of rubble and stuff. That's obviously way too much, but the more effort you put in, the better it looks. So you also add in, I think it was the fire here at the end, and you'll find that in the previous tutorial I did showing you guys how to make fire. That's pretty much the end of the tutorial, guys. Hope you enjoyed it or found something cool from it. Now you can use it in your own games. If you're not really happy with the results, it's definitely worth tweaking a bit here and there until you get something good. So that's the end of the tutorial, and I'll hopefully see you guys next time.